Welcome everyone, I'm the Clone and welcome to a new series. In this series I will be going over my replays and gameplays that I've recorded of the best games and explain everything that I do, how I do it, why I do it, and so on and so forth. As of right now, I have peaked in Master 339 LP. Actually no, I have peaked at 360 LP, but I'm 339 right now. I have been stuck-ish for the past 3 days at around 350, but I'm looking forward to break the plateau. Anyways, this is a game that I've had today. Basically what we're doing is we're invading here. The reason why we're invading is because we have Alistar. They instead have Thrash. So we're suspecting that they actually invaded our bot side. And that's why I will also ping this Bosch right here, because sometimes the enemies like to cheese this Bosch, and you know, it's best to just be safe. And actually, as you may have noticed, Riven is over there, which means that they're actually cheesing the Bosch, so kind of funny. What I'm doing here is I always like to invade with Shaco. This was a very neat situation where I thought about clearing his entire bot side jungle, but he actually shows up and starts clearing his red buff. So basically, Shaco has insane early game damage, especially with his backstab and ignite. So as we can see, Nunu has 620 HP when he's full, but because Nunu has no abilities early, only his Q, he's taking a lot of damage from the red buff. So I'm focusing on him. I'm going right on top of him, and I'm just basic attacking him. And funny enough, I get a first blood. So basically at this point, I've already gained a huge advantage, and then I will be taking his red buff. After I take his red buff, I'm actually cocky enough, and I continue clearing his entire bot side jungle. Now, what I want to do is reset as fast as possible. The thing is, this may look interesting and like an interesting play to dive, but it's always best to go for what's kind of safe-ish and guaranteed. Sometimes it is important to go for 50-50 plays if you know you get a lot from them and you don't lose that much, but there was not much for us to gain there anyways, because even if we would have killed them, the respawn timer is very low in the early game. So basically what I'm doing here, the reason why I want to reset as fast as possible, it is because where's Nunu right now? I'm always thinking about where the enemy jungler is. Basically, Nunu will be always on his top side because I took his bot side. And there was no way he was gonna randomly invade my bot side while I was wall myself. So he can only be top side, and this is why I recall after taking his bot side, and then I go straight to my top side to secure it and make sure Nunu doesn't go for a crazy invade. So obviously I'm just taking the red buff here, and then I'm gonna go Krugs. It is always important to let the buff die to your burn damage, because if you let the buff die to burn damage and to jungle damage, like you're saving a bit of time. And you save 2 seconds at one camp, 2 seconds at the other camp, and you know, you just end up saving a lot of time in the long run. Here I'm expecting Nunu to be on the Skull Crab, and I'm hoping for a fight here, but unfortunately he's not. At this point I'm legit thinking he took his top side jungle, and then he immediately rotated for bot lane Skull Crab, and as you can see, his chicken respawned. So right now I'm thinking he's either at chicken, either at Skull Crab. That's why I'm pinging the Skull Crab and I'm asking the Alistar for help. We can see he already took it, so it's very likely that he's invading my blue side here. But luckily that isn't the case, which means that right now we can with 100% accuracy tell exactly where Nunu is, and that is chicken. And after his chicken, he will always go for the Krugs, because that is the only place where he can go to. And there he is. After he took chicken, because there was an opportunity in the bot lane, he went for it, and that's why I'm reacting to it, because if you know how to track the enemy jungler and know always where they are, you can always react to their plays. And this may look like a crazy situation where we should probably lose, but I drop the box. Actually, I don't drop the box. I'm looking for the trash here. I'm trying to focus the guy that's in front of me, but because the Jing got a brand low, I get a backstab E, and luckily Alistar gets him. I drop the box on top of them, and fun enough, we absolutely destroy them. Nice flash, bro. But just like that, because we tracked the enemy camps and we knew in which order they were gonna take them, we knew exactly where Nunu was gonna show up. And right now, I was thinking about going to take his Krugs, but unfortunately that word, that Bash, is pink worded, so I cannot go for it. Alright. Next, I'm just doing a full reset. So basically, I reset, buy some items, and I'm doing a top to bot clear, usually. But what happens here? This guy I think pinged for help. I'm just clearing the vision, and I want to make sure Nunu is not at the void grubs. Basically, what I've noticed with Shaco, and as you will see here, Shaco is one of the worst champions when it comes to clearing void grabs because you have 0 AoE damage, and even though you can rush the first void grab very fast, clearing the other two will get you to below half HP. So when my new strategy is, I always clear only one void grab. Luckily, I was also able to get level 6 from it because I clear my jungle properly. And I'm going to check on Nunu. We know he's there. And because I know he took his topside jungle, as you can see him here, he can only go for the bot side jungle. But what I'm doing here, I'm always looking for the next biggest opportunity. Instead of wasting my time going for my chicken or anything just boring farming, I'm always looking to be active. I'm scouting him at his chicken, and by zoning the Nunu out of his bot side jungle, I'm opening opportunity for dragon and skull crab. And there he is. He loses a smite fight with Nunu, which is very sad. I know his red buff is up, and I'm asking my mid lane for help because we have mid lane prio. I'm making sure Kale is not YOLOing me into the jungle by getting vision inside the bush. And by this point, this is just movement game. Who has the better movement wins. But the thing is, because I have level advantage, I will always be able to 1v1 the Nunu. I catch a glimpse for a nanosecond of Thrash. And I know Brand is gonna die to my teammates, so I go for Thrash. We kill him. Here, there's no point really to use ultimate to try and chase him. I'm always looking at his red buff. As long as you can stat check the enemy jungler early into the game, after you get the invade on them, you get the first blood, you gain a huge advantage, and going for their second buff again, when it respawns, it absolutely destroys them. They will have absolutely no chance, and at this point, Nunu is completely out of the game. And not only am I taking his red buff, but the Thrash is also trolling. I am zoning him out of any path, because if I were to have placed the box inside the bush, he could have come this way and ran this way. But instead I'm placing it in such a way that I'm blocking both retreating paths, and I am going in front of him to kite. The Alistar comes in, he gets fear from the box as well. And there he goes, he dies. Unfortunately, Kale is smart. And this is arguably High Elo, so Kale is relatively smart, so she paths topside, meaning that there's no point in wasting time going for her, but this opened my skull crab, and then I'm going to go for dragon. I know, as you see, I'm pinging, because I know the Nunu will go for his blue, and then immediately into Krugs, and we will be losing Krugs here, but because I already took one, it's fine, he's not gonna get the objective for the feats, and just like that I'm going dragon, because prioritizing dragon, I've realized, it is 10 times more important than the void grubs. Alright, next moment. We have basically already gained a huge advantage here. So we take the dragon, we recall, and my new build is right here. It's basically Yomus And I have started rushing Yomus into Infinity Age, Lord Dominix, and sometimes Collector. It kinda depends. Collector is kind of a shit item unless you're crazy ahead. But I either go Voltaic sometimes or rush this build. The problem with this build is that unfortunately it doesn't work unless you're crazy ahead. If you're not crazy fed and ahead, Infinity Edge will be a crazy hard item to get. Because Infinity is so expensive and the components of Infinity kinda suck, you're much better off going Voltaic into Yomus if you want pure early game damage. But what happens is, if you go Voltaic and Yomus, you will lose your late game power spike and you will delay your late game power spike. Because obviously having Infinity Edge instead of Voltaic, this is gonna give you a ton more damage because of the crits. Like the crits make or break Shaco. And what I'm doing here, I'm just reacting honestly. I'm focusing my buff. What most High Elo junglers will do, they always focus the small camps before the buffs, so they can kill them, and like that they will respawn faster, and like that they can increase their gold income by making their jungle camps always spawn earlier, right? But I'm doing the opposite, because Shaco is not a farming jungler, and you will always be behind in farm with Shaco. Even though you will be crazy ahead, you will have crazy games be ahead, you will always lose to farming junglers if you AFK farm. The best strategy with Shaco is be aggressive in the early game, only focus the buffs and objectives, and always try to be as active as you can in fights. Unfortunately, I do literally 0 damage to the scale, but we still kill her. What I'm doing here is very important. I am not using my clone to go for kill. I know I can solo kill her. Unfortunately, the clone is brain dead, and there's a huge bug on Shaco, which unfortunately kinda nerfs the clone. If the clone gets knocked up, it basically resets its aggro. So the clone just sits there AFK sucking dick instead of attacking. So make sure to always spam your clone attacking, especially if they have knockups. What I'm doing here is I'm putting the clone on Nunu. And like that, see that? I zoned the Nunu with the clone, and he can no longer help his scale. And now I'm just trying to slow trash, but he has way too much HP. Here I'm resetting my clone, getting it again to zone. I'm also using it to farm his chicken camp. What I'm also doing in this game, and you will see, is I'm being extremely aggressive in the enemy jungle, and I'm never taking my jungle over the enemy jungle. Because if I take Nunu's jungle, not only do I get the camps, but I'm also starving the Nunu. So technically, instead of going even with the enemy jungler farm-wise, I'm actually crippling them. Here I saw the brand, but unfortunately he has a ward right there. Also, 1 billion IQ pro tip, when it comes to runes, I always recommend you guys to take this rune, the one that reveals wards, because when you early game invade, if they have a ward and you're not aware of them, the enemy will always collapse on you, and you will have no idea what happened. But with this rune, if you go for an invade, this rune will reveal the ward at the buff, and like that you know that the enemy jungler will go for your jungle instead, and you can just play from there. Again, I'm only reacting here, I'm waiting for the Kale ult, and I'm also waiting for my Q to come off cooldown so I can Q from inside the bush so they don't see me, so they don't back off. As you can see, if they had known I was there, they would have run both under tower, but instead Thresh is actually going aggressive. He's zoning for the Kale so she doesn't die, but unfortunately for him, I was there. I dropped the box on top. And here I'm playing aggressive because I know Alistar has CC, so we just killed that guy as well because we can dive him. And that was basically another crazy huge advantage for us. We just gave our bot lane a ton of advantage here because not only did they take waves, but we also killed them and they also took plates now. I'm ignoring my jungle here because this brand has no mana, right? And I know he will either go for the tower or go for recall inside the bush. Here I'm playing extremely safe, because what happens is, even though Brand may not have a lot of mana, if he can land a stun on me, or CC, he might be able to get away. So basically what I did here is that I used instantly clone, so I gave my clone infinite Hail of Blades attack speed, and the clone with each basic attack slows the Brand, because Shaco has passive slow on basic attacks, which is also given to the clone. So I'm just kiting him to death. He has no chance here, he is completely dead, so that was the safest way I could have played that. If I wanted to be more aggressive, you never know. If he stuns me and flashes away and has like Nimbus Cloak, he's out, baby. So it's always important to always play as safe as possible in order to get the kills. Unfortunately, I didn't save a moment here where we dove the enemy top laners, and I got a few kills, but it's not that big of a deal. What I want to highlight here is the way I'm playing the later parts of the game. Also, in this game, I went for Collector first. Basically, what I'm doing is, when I'm crazy ahead, I want to stack as much crit as possible, because stacking crit, that is how you get your damage, and I will show and I will highlight that in a second. Here I'm just taking the objective, and again, I'm going more crit. I'm going lower Dominix. Ideally, I would have gone for Infinity, but unfortunately, because of my components, I had to go for lower Dominix. Basically, what I'm doing is, I'm buying long swords, and if I don't want to go for Yomus or Voltaic Cycle Sword, I can always change my mind and go into Lord Dominix, because Lord Dominix is also being built from many long swords, right? Again, I'm reacting, and what I'm doing here is huge. Basically, I'm placing a box right here to zone the enemies coming from the bot river. But this Riven is allowing my AD carry here. So what I'm doing is, he even flashed into my AD carry. What I'm doing here is I am face checking the Riven, because if I face check the Riven, I'm trying to deter him away from attacking my AD carry. And if he YOLOs for it, what I can do, I'm just gonna basic attack him. It may look trollish, and unfortunately the Jhin does die, but it is really the only thing that I could have done to play it well, because like this, I can at least be on top of the Riven and attack him. I use my clone, the Thresh hooks my box because he reveals it with Detector, and this is why I build crit. Look at this. With 50%, I crit, my clone crits, and I crit again crit. I have literally only landed crits on the Riven, and he's out. Here I have to Q away, and this is also huge. Basically, how can we kill this Riven without dying and being as safe as possible? Keep your clone and always keep your Q to get away from this bad situation, because if anything bad happens here, not only am I dodging Thresh Hook with clone just to make sure, I'm doubling my DPS almost with clone also, and I'm just getting us numbers advantage, because the clone is basically a champion, right? Kappa. And now I'm using Q to run away, dodge the Brand combo, so I don't get passive then insta-killed. And just like that, we kill the Riven at least. Now, this is a bad fight. This is where I actually thought my team was gonna throw a bit. And I got anxious because they all three died. And Kayle is pushing bot lane, she's getting farm for free. This guy is stat checking me in the jungle, he's being very aggressive because look, I'm in between two enemies basically here. So this guy can come here, he can stat check my blue buff, and then Kayle is gonna come from bot side and collapse on me on the blue buff. So basically my strategy here to not get completely face shit, because I also do not have my ultimate up, is as following. Basically, I am dropping a control word. With this control word, I'm letting Nunu know that I have vision on him and he needs to be careful. Because, oh, what the heck? Okay, I deleted that. Because basically, If he stops and attacks the control ward, that gives me enough time to safely take my blue buff and leave. But he doesn't. Luckily, I still get a blue buff. Here I am getting vision on him. And I'm going for kill. Unfortunately, he does have ult. I use my box to gain vision inside the bush. I know that Nunu's there. Thresh has just revealed himself with a lantern. And luckily for us, I give my teammate Mel the ability to kill Kale with a box. Basically right here what I'm doing is, because I have the movement speed, is how do I reach this Nunu? What is the best way to Q? Through this bush, because through this bush I will get the movement speed. Unfortunately that shit happens. But this guy pops the plant and again crit. He absolutely disappears. Here I'm zoning the Thresh so he cannot come this way. Unfortunately he does have flash. But what I do next, I go for his jungle camp. It's not there, no problem. We take some minions from the bot side and then recall. Right, so basically here we're in the late game. Not much else has happened, but we're in a position where the Baron is gonna be spawning soon. And we really don't want to take any bad fights. Again, I'm waiting for the opportune moment. I'm jumping on that guy as he's the only guy I can reach. If we can take him out, it's amazing. Unfortunately, he does have flash. The problem is with Shaco, you never want to fight when your clone is down. Unfortunately, I do not have that luxury here. I zone the Nunu with a box. And what I do is, with Shaco you have a ton of basic attack damage. So this guy gets pushed into the box. Fortunately it doesn't trigger. But what I do is I just basic attack. And that gives us enough damage to kill the Riven. And again, I'm just walking up to them because as long as they're focusing my teammates and they're all casters, I can just walk up, basic attack. I'm using clone. And I have the Q to get away. I'm zoning this guy with a clone. And this is very important here, what I do. I want to just reset here. I want to go farm my jungle because my whole jungle is up. Scale Crab is up, Baron's gonna be up soon. But what happens is, you always have to adapt to the way your teammates play. I see these two guys are YOLOing mid lane. These two guys, they wanna fucking dive, which is crazy risky. Because not only the Nunu is kinda tankish, the Thresh is also tanky, and this brand is literally behind them. He can come in, ult, absolutely destroy my teammates right here. So what happens is, I have to play accordingly. I have to make up for relatively my teammates' mistake by playing with them here. So what I do is, I see the brand, he's waiting for his moment, and I zone him a bit, and I zone him with a control ward. Luckily these guys are crazy fed actually, and they would have won anyways apparently. But it's always important to adapt to the way your teammates play, and always play with them, play team. Because if you just leave and you let your teammates die, that is a huge disadvantage for you, because you can potentially throw the game. Finally we can reset here. But actually I'm not resetting. The reason why I'm not resetting is because I do not have enough gold to buy anything crazy important. And what I do is, because I know I'm pretty fed, I can face check these bushes and potentially look for a kill. Unfortunately I do not have clones, so it's extremely risky, but I see the Thresh. I ping him. And luckily, because I see the brand, I'm trying to walk in such a way that I'm safe from the vision and I don't get YOLO'd by him, I don't get collapsed here. But again, just walk up to people, basic attack, and boom, a ton of damage, we get a kill. Right now I'm also getting his blue buff, and we have more or less gained us whole control of the Baron part of the jungle. Again, I'm taking his side of the Nunu's jungle instead of mine. And here I'm waiting for my cooldowns. I'm waiting for my ultimate before I jump in. Unfortunately, this is worded. But because of the crit, just look at the damage. It is absolutely nasty. Boom. Here, I'm making sure I don't get hit by Brand's Q&E. And I just jump on him. Unfortunately for me, even though I'm waiting for the Alistar knocks him up. This means that I'm safe and Brand cannot cast any ability. Jokes on me, he just casts W while in knock-up. And I still kill him and don't die. And at this point, it is arguable to go Baron. But actually, I want to force the inhib at the very least. This guy literally jumps in YOLO and dies, and this is game over. Just like that. If you teamfight properly, if you can catch their backline, and if you have your clone and don't get insta-killed and are ahead, you can absolutely destroy the enemy team, give your team an advantage, and that's basically how you play the late game, as long as you're obviously crazy fed. If you're not fed with Shaco, well, you're basically useless if you're not fed with Shaco, honestly. Because if I were to showcase you my match history, I literally do not have one single game where I wasn't relatively ahead or where I haven't won my early game. Like, literally in every single game, I am getting crazy kills because that is the only way you can try and win with Shaco. And even then, I'm still losing my games. Honestly, with Shaco, low-key, being ahead, it is kind of the equivalent of going even, especially against enemy farming junglers if you don't know how to play against them. Okay, let's move on to the next game. One thing that you guys have asked for in the comments, and that I will respect, is the fact that you asked for games that I've lost, to highlight games that I lost. Now, this is a game that I've unfortunately lost. Unfortunately, I don't have the early game, but, you know, it is still a very interesting game. And I will show you why and explain why. I'm against Jarvan, and as you can see, the game is kinda in our favor. But they have a pretty strong team comp. So I'm just gonna farm my jungle here. Unfortunately, I don't get a skill crab. But they have an Ashkan, dude. That champion is literally so overpowered. I think I've lost 70% of my games to Ashkan, unfortunately. This is also a game where I went for Voltaik first. The reason why I went for Voltaik is because Voltaik gives you crazy burst damage in the early game. And honestly, it's been my go-to build for quite a while. As you can see, I'm actually not building boots. And not only am I not building boots, but when I do build boots, I only build the 300 gold boots. I almost never upgrade boots. I've only recently started to go back to Dirk, Berserker's early game item combo. And I'm still experimenting a bit with builds. Here, luckily we have a pink ward. I can see this guy. As you can see, that is all Voltaik. You would not be able to do that with pretty much any other build unless you get lucky and get a crit with Collector or something. Now I have ult here, but I want to play careful because Jarvan can get away with ease and my LeBlanc is low HP. Unfortunately they run away, but always use box to gain vision. As I said, this is why I play safe, because they can always turn the fight around. Because with Shaco you're extremely extremely squishy. I'm letting the clone do the frog. And always try to... The number one thing that you can do, especially if you're below, at the very least, diamond, is optimize your jungler clearing speed. If you do that, you will just literally climb at the very least 1 or 2 elos. I'm always trying to secure Skull Crab and always use box for vision. Yep. Again, Shaco's extraordinarily squishy. We see they're gonna collapse on this guy. Unfortunately, I do not have ultimate. Always place the box to create a retreating path, a safe retreating path. And I'm always keeping my Q to either chase enemies or try to get away. If you have the luxury to walk into basic attack range to enemies, always do that. Never Q before. But yeah, this Yasuo was unfortunately crazy popping off. And just like that, basically everyone died. I think I think you guys can see why we ended up losing this game. And now I'm going for Infinity. And also I'm building boots. Pro tip, always buy control words. Like literally always. I buy at the very least a minimum of 5 to 6 control words per game. Basically, what we have to do here is focus the objectives and not die randomly. This guy died randomly. If your engaged tank dies randomly, that is a huge problem. Now I kinda low-key steal that kill, which really sucks. Especially because this LeBlanc is level 9 and he's kind of a sus pick. I mean, a LeBlanc support is very interesting. I'm trying to scout for this guy jungle. Always focus his jungle compared to mine. And now we're in a very shitty situation. Because this guy's gonna deny me taking the ward and they're basically all 4 on the Atakan. And unfortunately, we had 2 teammates down. The fucking TF also dies here. And that basically puts us in a shitty situation. You should never ever try to force objectives. Because especially in higher-ish Elo, arguably, they will literally one-shot you. Like they don't give a shit. Regardless of how fed you are, especially because they have Zillion. Even if I try to kill someone, the Zillion would literally just kill me. Stun me, or if I kill someone, the Zillion would just put ult on them and it would be impossible for me to kill anyone. Like, it's very hard to assassinate. Only in very specific situations can you assassinate. So basically I'm just gonna focus on farming here. I'm trying to get my Infinity. And right now I'm at 3 items. With these 3 items, your crit backstab is gonna literally do 1k plus damage on anyone. And it's gonna absolutely destroy. I'm going for this guy, trying to help him out. The Yasuo's dashing on every single freaking minion. Luckily we kill him. And we get a Zillion as well. Killing enemies before objectives, it is huge. Because it basically gives you the objective for free pretty much. And just like that. Just like that, we take the dragon. After we take the dragon, I recall, farm my jungle. Especially, again, like, as of right now, the enemy Jarvan was basically non-existent. Like, have you seen it, the enemy Jarvan in any fight? Nope, he's basically AFK. What the enemy jungler is doing right now is he's farming and he's stacking his tank items. So unfortunately, he will be impossible to kill because he goes tank. Any tank is basically off the list for you, cannot go for them. What we have to do here is focus the Zillion and Jhin. my teammates end up getting caught. And also the most important thing with Shaco later into the game is you need to get the correct angle when you jump in on a fight. As you can see here, because my angle was absolutely garbage, I could not go for their backline before being noticed or before my Q expiring. Basically, always try to get as close as you can to the enemies before jumping in on them. For instance, here, the best thing that I could have done is probably go around, use the detector to make sure there's no wards, hope there's no wards, or go up to this corner of the bush and Q over here and hope that they go in. Because as you can see, my clone does 100 damage per basic attack. Without crit, you will do absolutely 0 damage on normal basic attacks. And it gets insta-killed as well. So we're basically cooked. I'm going for the Yasuo because he's greedy. Always, if an enemy is feared, always Q and full combo them. Even if they're tankier, it's very important to try and burst them down, because if you give them any opportunity to react, like the Yasuo would have been extremely annoying there. He would have E'd on me, E'd on the box, basic attack me for like a ton of damage. That's why it's important to one-shot them. Unfortunately, Tristana dies randomly for no good reason whatsoever. I'm activating the detector, I'm hoping there's no wards. The Javan is bot lane, and this is the perfect situation where we can jump in. This guy has flash, and I want to highlight I have backstab, so I'm trying to backstab. This is a guaranteed backstab. He flashes, I'm going on him, this is still guaranteed backstab, and he turns around at the last second. With Shaco, if you do not get your backstab, you will do 0 damage. 400 damage. That is absolutely garbage. Watch this. The next basic attack with crit, non-backstab, crit basic attack does 500. If I were to have backstabbed him there, I would have done like 1000. That's why the most important thing on Shaco is to get a backstab. And it is crazy hard to get a backstab, because enemies will always just spin in place, turn around, and we cannot go for that guy because the Jarvan is guarding him. Recall, I'm going for Lord Dominic's here, try and stack as much crit as possible, and this is also a problem what I want to highlight here. It is because I have Yomus and Voltaic Cycle Sword, I have delayed my power spike, meaning my Lady crit power spike, meaning that as long as if I don't get a backstab, I'm gonna be doing 0 damage. Boom. 1000 damage with a backstab. Twisted Fate ints. Tristana dies. And the crit. Watch this. 1k backstab and then 500 crit. Like and the E does 0 damage because it doesn't crit. With Shaco, always prioritize basic attacks over anything else, literally. And unfortunately, I believe I die here. Literally, when you jump on an enemy, do not use your E. Just basic attack them. Backstab and basic attack them. Because if you use your E, you will do 0 damage with the E. So what happens here? Unfortunately, these guys keep dying. They're inside our base, but it's okay because they fall back. It is basically a reset here. I have the movement speed. I'm going for this guy. One key crit. Again, I made a mistake here where I E'd instead of basic attacking, because it literally takes longer to E someone than just basic attack twice. Like doing basic attack is faster than doing basic attack E. If you want to do an E, it is usually only when you think that the enemy is gonna flash away or do something cheeky. Basically, here we have to position for the dragon. We have a huge advantage because 2 of the enemies are dead. And here I'm focusing the Jhin. 1200, and this right here is the #1 perfect example of why it is terrible on Shaco if you don't have crit. If you don't have 75% plus crit. We are doing 1200, 1300 to be specific, damage on one basic attack, correct? And then the next one does 300. It is almost 4 times less, bro. Think about it. Pause for a second and think about it. The fact that you do 4 times almost less damage on a normal, regular basic attack compared to a backstab. And then I do another basic attack, 300. And then the crit is 800. It is more than double. Okay? It is imperative to have crit late game on Shaco. Imagine if I didn't crit the 4th of basic attack either. Like, it is crazy cringe how Shaco's whole spiel is. And unfortunately I fuck up the smite. And he gets away. My biggest mistake here was not taking the plant. Because you can see the plant, you can see it on the minimap also. Yeah, I fat fingered it. 180, didn't get a smite, unlucky bro. Also, fun fact, if I had crit, I would have dealt more damage. Like, look, 290 compared to 600 plus damage. I would have taken the dragon faster and would not have failed the smite likely. And this is why I've changed my build for... I don't build Voltaic now. Also, I was thinking about going Grand Winds because their Ashcan is extraordinarily fat, but what I've realized is Shield Bow is probably the best last item on Shaco. Because it gives you the tankiness you need with a shield, and it also gives you crit. And you just need to stack that crit on Shaco. Here we're just farming, unfortunately, which one of the most important things that I've highlighted in my previous videos and talked about is split pushing. And yes, split pushing is extremely important, but unfortunately, as long as you do not have Profane Hydra, you cannot split push, and if you do not have a side laner, you're basically cooked. And this guy randomly dies for no reason whatsoever, he gets caught. And at the end of the day, fights will always be the game will always be decided by one random team fight at the end of the game. One fucking guy gets caught and you instantly lost the game, because look, check out the damage, like literally, he's with a back at me, and unfortunately, because people kite all the time, they always go backwards and forwards, and it's extremely hard to get a backstab. Here I'm trying to look at how I'm trying to compensate for his last second fucking movement, and then he kites again, the son of a bitch. And it's, look, it is fucking impossible to land backstabs because of that in the late game. And I do 500, I do literally 0. Compare the 1200 damage I did to the Jhin to the 500. It's literally less than half. And then the next basic attack does like 200. Just like that, I had to full combo that Ashcan just to kill him. And basically wasted all the damage. Backstab, 1k plus, one shot. But it's too little, too late. And the rest of my teammates are basically completely useless, and we lose the game because of that. I am making a Shaco video where I will be talking about the problem with a backstab, because I think the worst ability on Shaco It is the backstab because it's just extraordinarily inconsistent and it just completely fucks you up in the late game. Like, it's the worst ability ever. Like, it literally punishes you for trying to play well. And let's end the video with a win. I know it's crazy long, but this is a long one. I hope you guys are enjoying regardless, and cheers to everyone who is still freaking watching. Okay. This one I have from the beginning, so God bless. It is also against a Briar. So for all my Briar haters out there, shout out to you. Let's absolutely shit on Briar. Basically what I'm doing here, this is an older game, so I don't exactly remember. It's from 10 days ago. But what I do, I always have more or less different start. In every single game I kinda do a different start. Sometimes I like to do a full clear, sometimes I like to invade. Briar is kinda hard to invade, so apparently I decided to do a full clear. Also, pro tip, if you do a full clear, max W twice instead of EE is fucking useless. But just max W twice, just max W, Q, W, and by the time you finish Krugs, you're gonna be level 4 anyways, so you can get your E again. Because like this, if you max W, Q, E, you're missing on a lot of box damage. Basically, I think what I did here is I knew that Briar started topside because it was worded. But she also worded my jungle. Basically, the reason... Okay, this is why you go this rune, because it revealed words, but I think it was actually a teammate who revealed it here, because the rune is not on cooldown. The thing is, Shaco has one of the fastest level first clears. So basically, I'm using it to my advantage to match the Briar and meet her and fight her at the bot lane Skull Crab. Because she's petting downside, I'm petting down, I'm gonna be there faster. Look, I'm there faster, so I know that Briar can only be in this bush. Especially because my bot lane is pushed. Either in this bush, either she's going for the Skull Crab. Like, I have no idea what happens here. Oh, there she is. Yeah. She got fucked. Good flash. This Yasuo... Like, this Yasuo, dude. He comes in, flashes through my fucking box, is on the second one, doesn't get feared, goes in the first box, and then gets absolutely fucked by the second one, correct? Oh my god, I was so greedy. Oh my god, that was nasty, I was greedy there. Okay, you know what? I kinda have to respect my old self there for that greedy play. Also, the new Shaco skin is absolutely amazing. Oh shit, unfortunately I think I skipped here a bit. Yeah, it is what it is. Skip 2 kills, it's not that big of a deal. This is just free. Easy gank, good flash. Classic E-flash, am I right? Or for all the OGs who know the E-flash memes, shout out to you. I have vision on her, and I think I want to collapse on her at the red buff with the bard. Yeah. But she's going mid lane. I'm kinda low-key just reacting to this. I got 6 there. I instantly use clone to get a Hail of Blades on clone. Yeah, and that's the kill. And I think I want dragon here. I saw the Zaya there. Yeah, I'm checking the bush. Yeah, I'm just going dragon here. Yeah, but unfortunately the Zaya comes here. The thing is, we didn't have bot lane prio, but we had mid lane and jungle prio. Unfortunately, these guys spawn, but the Briar is just crazy greedy, and damn, the Ezreal is kinda outplaying them. Oh my god, that was disgusting. Like, you just gotta adapt, you know? there's macro play and micro play. That was all micro play. That was all literally micro. Like, I'm asking this guy for help. The thing is, I'm kind of half Gucci here, because I can resist a lot because of the jungle healing on the dragon. I Q away, so the dragon stops attacking me. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm definitely dead here. Well, I guess that was kind of worth it. Not that worth it anymore. And there's no... Yeah. High Elo teammates, by the way. High Elo teammates, am I right? I mean, I low-key literally have like 90% of the team kills right here. Here, usually what I would do, there's a crazy Shaco bug where you can activate the Hail of Blades while inside ult, but apparently I'm not doing that. The problem here is it's always risky, because if you place a box, the Yasuo will always E on the fucking box away and go to safety. Luckily I have Bard with me. Yeah, he just E's on the box. But what happens here is, because the box is inside the minion wave, even though Yasuo is outside of the box trigger range, the box triggers on the minions and he still gets feared. Now Bard, I think, just misses his his Q. Apologies, because obviously he's that good. I want to chase here, and that's also a huge trait of Voltaic. One of the best things about Voltaic's sword, it is not the damage, it is the fact that you slow enemies for 99% for almost 1 second. You basically stun them for 1 second. That was... God bless his soul, but I still die. Unlucky. Ooh. I always like to be greedy, and I always trade. Here I'm just doing a normal jungle clear. Arguably, you could say that it's best to go from top to bot here, but I don't have a regular jungle clear. I've always noticed that if I have a regular, predictable jungle clear, I always lose. Basically what I'm doing here is, I know that Briar's red is up, so I'm probably gonna try to contest that. Or at least try to be cheeky here, because I know she's doing her chicken right now and I have time to steal her red. And there she is, she was doing chicken. And because I have clone, I can just shit on her. Yeah. That was just bad. Shaco counters Briar to a certain extent. My idea here is Q behind her, but obviously I failed that because I have autism, but luckily I still kill her. And this is just nasty. I think I remember this play. This is just disgusting. I think I'm gonna puke. Yeah, that's just disgusting. A fun fact. The slow and damage of Voltaic Cycle Sword also applies to the clone. And guess what? Do you see his Q? You see where I am, right? You see his Q is that way. Is pointed that way, right? I literally die to his fucking Q. Hello? This is also a bug. But basically what happened is, my theory is, when he got feared, he did a 360. Basically when you get feared, you kind of do a 360. When you get CC'd, I think you also do a 360. And I'm gonna talk more about this bug on the big channel, because it also fucks your backstab. But he did a 360 with a Q, and he just applied the Q on me because of the fear. But this is a bug. So like I literally died to a bug, because otherwise I would not have died there. Because he hits me with the fire Even though the fire was always visually facing this way forward, he hits me with the fire backwards and kills me. But yeah, that was nasty. Like, I played that crazy decent. Like, I played it crazy well. This guy ints, no problem. And the slow. Look at this. 111 movement, he's completely slowed. And then I have the E-slow. And you know, Lissandra could have ulted. Like, I was waiting for Lissandra ult. He can ult at any moment, no problem. Obviously he waits for me to die and then ults, no problem. Classic High Elo teammates, by the way. And hopefully he kills Elise here. Amen. God bless your soul, Lissandra. Yeah. Kinda unlucky that she waited for Yasuo to do a clean full combo on me before fucking ulting, but it is what it is. And here the dragon is gonna spawn. We must get bot lane prio in order to secure the dragon properly. My bot lane was crazy good this game. The Bard was kinda sus, but the Ezreal was crazy good. Here, I am prioritizing. Yes, I could one-shot the Elise, but the Xayah is the main target. And this is why Voltaic is OP as fuck with Yomus early game. Like, in the early game, especially if you're crazy fed, like, I have 13 kills and 2 assists in 13 minutes. Watch this damage. Boom. That's a lot of damage. And the E is gonna kill. Actually, I'm cheeky as fuck. Damn. So I'm basically taking, I'm keeping my E to kill Elise. I'm basically taking this guy to death, and then I'm Eing Elise. But unfortunately, my teammates didn't get her down to low enough for my E to crit. And that was crazy cheeky. Damn. Like, I legit don't remember this place, so I'm kinda surprised myself. Oh yeah, also that's a bug. Is it? I don't know, I'm kinda inside her and I get a backstab, even though, if I'm not mistaken, I'm actually in front of her. I cannot tell exactly. There is a way you can get front backstabs. I'm gonna talk about it in the rework, in the Shaco rework video. Oh shit, I guess I spoiled it, because I haven't talked about the title of the video yet. But yeah, I'm basically making a video on why Riot should rework Shaco. Of course, dude, when you're behind, look, and I'm technically behind it, kinda on the side, I don't get a backstab. But when I'm kinda in front of the Briar, I get a backstab. Anyways. And obviously like that we just get the dragon for free. That was the whole point of that fight. And now, because there's nothing spawned, yes, her blue buff will spawn, but I just want to reset my camps. I'm just gonna clear top side. Oh, here, by the way, yes, I am clearing, but I'm always looking on the map. And I'm always moving in such a way that I'm kind of close to my teammates. If anything goes wrong, I can always jump in and help them. But otherwise, I can go and clear my jungle. Like, I see the Briar, she's doing her... she already took the chicken, basically. I'm just going to clear this. Here, I'm holding top just to make sure. Oh my god. Yeah, this is also nasty. So basically, usually what top laners will do... Rumble has two choices. Because he just got back to lane, he has no goal to buy anything, so there's no point for him to go back. The Herald is gonna spawn soon. Briar is at her Krugs right now. Because we saw her at chicken, she can only go from chicken to Krugs, right? And this guy has two choices. One, go for tower, which is free as hell. Or go and secure the river. But basically, why is he not going for tower if it's kind of free? It's because of Malphite. So Malphite has ult, so it's kind of free, but not really. It's kind of risky, right? He decides to play safe. Kudos to him, but unfortunately for him, I know that he has two choices. If he's not here, he's gonna be in the river. So what I do, I just jump. I ping my Malphite to ult him, and we just shit in his mouth and rip Bozo. And yeah, Briar is gonna recall and she's gonna go for her bot side. We know that Briar is in base right now, or she's bot side. But because we know Briar is completely out of this fight, I can easily flank here without being afraid of the Briar. And that's that. So basically, I'm gridding here. And I'm slowing for my Bard, but he's out of position. There's Briar. And this is why Shaco counters Briar pretty damn hard. If she jumps on you, you clone, and then you just ult. But this is also why Briar kinda counters Shaco, because fun fact, if she hits you with ult, she will gain perma vision on you, and even if you Q away, she will still see you. But this time Lissandra ulted in time, didn't wait for that guy to do a full combo and kill me. And unfortunately, Elise gets away with 1 HP. But yeah, let's move on to the next part of the game. Oh, did we skip? Yeah, I skipped 2 kills, unfortunately. It is what it is. Basically, I'm looking at my team comp. I have Malphite, Lissandra as Bard. Bard is gonna be perma roaming. Ezreal can split push side lanes, but he's not doing it. So that job comes to me. Always with Shaco split push side lanes, I think I've said this a million times. Unfortunately, because of the meta and because of the build, you cannot both one-shot enemies and split push the side lanes at the same time. Because of the build. Because I do not have Hydra, I do 0 damage to the wave. Or I don't do 0 damage, but it takes forever to basically attack each minion separately, right? And that's a huge detriment because taking the second tower gives you 700 gold. That is 700 Gs in the pocket. That is the highest amount of gold I think you can get from pretty much anything in game outside of big shutdown. Like that tower gives you the most amount of the gold, and it's the easiest way to get the gold of the tower compared to pretty much anything else in game. Here I'm just look at how I'm letting the blue buff die, because even though I don't want to take the blue buff, because the jungle damage from the minion is AoE, is gonna kill the blue buff anyways. I'm letting my teammates get the Scale Crab, and I'm gonna help this guy out. Cheeky motherfucking Rumble saw me, and he changed his path. Unfortunately, here I got crazy unlucky, because I let this guy live with 1 HP. And then I get stunned, and then I get one-shot. Even though you can one-shot, you will also always get one-shotted. Also, look at how the first basic attack does 1k, and the second one does 0. It does only 450. This is why this build, again, is crazy good early game strong, but the second you get to the late game, you completely lose a huge part of your power. So yeah. And I get one shot by the Xayah. Okay. Luckily these guys play. And we're looking for the next objective. Unfortunately our Malphite died. I'm looking to help him here. Ezreal is half HP. I'm not gonna jump in. I'm waiting for my clone before I jump in. And I want to make sure the enemies split. Because if the enemies are all clogged together, you cannot jump in. So I believe, yes, look at how I waited for them to split. Unfortunately, they completely destroy me with that pink ward. But I think I'm going to be jumping on Xayah here, because look at how Xayah is split away from her team. Look at how they have put distance in between each other, meaning that I can jump in and relatively safely assassinate one of them. Because if they're all together, the second I attack one of them, I'm going to get shit on. Also, when the enemies are all clogged together like this, it is very hard to to basic attack whoever you want. Because basically what happens is the hitboxes will stack on top of each other, and the biggest enemy will always be the one you will be focusing. So if there's like a huge Cho'Gath in the middle of them, you will always be clicking on the Cho'Gath because he has the biggest hitbox of them and he's blocking their hitboxes. So it's very hard to attack who you want. And I want the Zaya, but this guy is, unfortunately this guy is too free. So I have to go for him, and then I instantly ult, ignite this guy, I believe, yeah. I read myself like an open book, and again, because I don't have crit, look at how I'm doing 0 damage. I can one-shot this guy, but my DPS is 0. I do 400, 190, disgusting low damage, 300, disgusting low damage, and yeah, he also barriers, and finally I crit once. And luckily I'm crazy fed, so I just shit on Yasuo's whole health as well. And my teammates come in and they play mid as fuck, but I think that's enough, honestly, to win the fight, yeah. And that was basically it. I technically solo killed almost 3 enemies. I solo killed 2 of them and got the other one to basically crazy low HP. I believe he also had a shield. Did I go through his shield bow? Yeah, I went through his entire fucking shield bow as well. Otherwise I would have killed him, I believe. I went through Yasuo's whole 500 passive. Oh no, he didn't have passive up. But still, kind of crazy thinking that I could have killed Yasuo as well. And also did some damage to Briar, so yeah. If you can jump like that, isolate enemies and kill them, you basically won the team fight and therefore the game for your team. Luckily for them, luckily for me, they are doing the objective. Finally I get to stack a bit more crit and I'm at 50%. And my team is just rushing mid here. They're just way too crazy ahead right now. I mean, that guy's level 13 basically, and we're 16 and 17 and so on. Here I'm being cheeky, I'm checking to make sure there's nobody behind here, and boom. That's basically the game, because the Yasuo's not even playing anymore. I think I'm being greedy here, yeah. Bomba club. Boom. Also, I think that's not even a backstab. Yeah, I think I hit her from the side and then I don't even know, man. That was nasty. Nasty. Well, that was basically the game. And easy peasy, easy clappers, easy win. Those were the games. Let's see. Oh, I've been recording for over 1 hour. This was crazy long. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you like this format. If you like this format, let me know in the comments down below. I have 1 more video prepared for this with 3 more games. 2 of them lost this time and only 1 won, but they were crazy close games. And I'm also going to be talking about my mistakes. But I hope you guys learned something useful about Shaco. Obviously, all these games are in Master Plus. Some players Grandmaster, few of them even Challenger in some of these games. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching again. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to support me and the channel. And as always, until next time, stay safe.